following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Into a Tuesday edition, Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton coming to you here, and man, what a crazy, crazy Tuesday it has been. Because the TSSAA gives you zero warning. Well, when they do something like drop the classifications for the next classification period, you're like, whoa, wait, what happened?
Right. So they will have the Board of Control meeting where they will set regions/districts. And I don't know if that's later this month or if it's next month, but that'll be the next thing. But yeah, they don't really, there's not a whole lot of fanfare. I mean, they announced enrollments last week.
Right.
And so now they dropped classifications based on those enrollments earlier today, and now I guess there will be a period of time during which schools can opt to move up if it looks like, you know, they may benefit from travel or different groupings or that kind of thing. Can't move down. Cannot move down. Sorry.
Hey, y'all care if we just play in 3A?
No.
How's that work out?
Nope, can't do that.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, it's so, yeah, TSSAA has dropped some information in our laps for us to mull over, which is going to be interesting.
And there will be extensive mulling by any number of people.
Just no question there. There'll be plenty of it. But yeah, so yeah, crazy Tuesday already.
And unfortunately, I've not really had the time to put pen to paper and kind of figure out how it affects, you know, some of our area as of yet, because it just dropped this morning and
right.
I had other things going on. But it is something that we probably need to get into a bit more before, you know, the next Board of Control meeting, probably. So,
oh, there's no question that we will have plenty of time to dive in. But
I would have expected some other people to have dove in.
Already to this point, I'm sure there's plenty of it. We've got a great show for you, as you saw on the title card there. We've got LANDEN SECREST coming up. He's going to join us and talk a little bit of Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA as they open their season tonight. Boston, I don't know who Boston plays, but I know the Lakers take on the Warriors. So
the Lakers take on the Warriors.
That's all. Boston plays, but I can't remember who they play because I don't really care who Boston plays, even though Grant Williams for the win, the VFL.
The Boston Celtics host the 76ers tonight.
There you go. But not the 46ers from Spain or whatever.
Or wherever they were from, yeah.
Belarus or whatever.
So are there only 2 games tonight?
There are only 2 games tonight. It's Boston and LA, man.
There you go. I mean, and the Lakers are actually on the road at Golden State.
They're at Golden State. So, yeah. That just goes to show where the powers lie in the West, huh?
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the power in the West lies about 3 hours west of here, but
I don't think it's
what do I know?
Hey, technically they are west of here. If Nashville is the center,
it's west.
Then it's west.
Yep.
Oh man, we got a great show again. We will talk to Chip Walters, but we will probably just be letting him turn his camera around and let us see the beach while he's there, and we'll just pretend like we're on the beach for 20 minutes in that
live
interview.
Vicariously.
We'll just live vicariously through Chip. That's the easiest way to do it. But yeah, so again, it's going to be fun. We've got top five walk-offs, because it's a pretty good one this past Saturday with the walk-off field goal from Chase McGrath, who was named the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week despite missing an extra point. when
think
you
he made up for
when
it.
you kick the game winner, it works
I think
out.
he made up for it.
It's funny because you remember 2001 when Tennessee missed the extra point against Florida, comes back, kicks the game-winning field goal.
Was that James Will Hoyt?
Will Hoyt, yep.
I think he would just as soon you not remind him of that.
I'm just saying, you can make up for it. If you miss an extra point, that's okay.
Depending on when you miss it.
As long as you make the game-winning field goal when you get the opportunity.
Yeah,
that's
there you
all
go.
I'm saying. Nobody remembers the missed extra point.
But they do.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll get to top 5 walk-offs and got a pretty good top story today. Looking forward to talking about it here briefly in just a moment. But before we do any of that, let's go ahead and get you yesterday and some of today's scores and the rest of today's schedule as we get to you on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
In girls soccer action on Monday from the Region 6 AAA tournament, Independence defeated Centennial 3-2 in overtime. And Nolensville defeated Ravenwood 1-0 in overtime. So really balanced Region 6 AAA semifinals there yesterday. In NFL action last night, the Chargers of Los Angeles defeated the Broncos of Denver 19-16, also in overtime. So it's one of those nights, I guess. Volleyball action earlier today in the state tournament over in Murfreesboro. It was Battleground Academy opening with a 3-0 win over Middle Tennessee Christian. Eagleville defeated Chattanooga School of Arts and Sciences 3-0. It was Hillsborough edging Lebanon 3-2. Good Pasture with a 3-0 win over Boy Buchanan. East Hamilton down Murfreesboro Central 3-2, and Summertown, the Lady Eagles, with a 3-0 win over Gibson County.
Serving, I was going to say, I couldn't think of opening serve coming up shortly at 2:30. Lexington and Creekwood, Sale Creek and Loretto, Brentwood and West Ridge, and then at 3:30 it's Baylor and Innsworth. And girls soccer action at 6 o'clock. First touch, Gallatin at Cane Ridge, Liberty Creek at Valor Collegiate, Cheatham County hosting Huntland, and Culleoka at home against East Hickman at 7 p.m. Fairview goes to Page, and Overton is at Station Camp.
Other games, times we do not know. Clarksville is at Clarksville Northwest. Concord Christian is at Franklin Grace. Nashville Christian goes to Harding Academy. Merrill Hyde hosts Watertown. Mount Juliet hosts Siegel. Henry County travels to Rossview. Independence Academy is at Smith County. St. George's takes on visiting Franklin Road Academy. Wilson Central goes to Stewart's Creek. Murfreesboro Central is at Sycamore, and White House hosts Hume Fogg.
Major League Baseball action. If the Yankees and Guardians ever play Game 5, I mean, they've only been postponed twice now. That is scheduled now today for 3:07 on TBS, and then we just mix up the numbers, and at 7:03, the Phillies will be in San Diego against the Padres on FS1. And the Predators are at home tonight. It's an 8:30 puck drop because they're on Espen, and they take on the Kings of Los Angeles.
And they are looking for their first domestic victory of the season.
Yes, they are, because they've played the Stars twice and they've been outscored 9-2. So that's not good. Hopefully things will get better, but that's going to do it for today's rundown. Our top story today, Mo, is that number 82. That was my number in high school.
Solid.
Played tight end some, but Delaney Walker, Titan legend, will retire a Titan today, signing a 10-second contract, basically.
7 seasons with the Titans, 3-time Pro Bowler, 4-time captain, 2-time Titans Community Man of the Year. Didn't realize he had played 14 years, 7 seasons with the 49ers before coming to Nashville, and just felt like he was kind of a building block for what took place over that stretch of time with the Titans. Just solid dude, man. Really enjoyed watching him play, and it just felt like he kind of elevated that offense a little bit and was a little bit of a security blanket for the quarterbacks that worked in that offense while he was here.
Yeah, I think he was kind of, he was kind of the guy who was going to be there during your down years, but the guy that you could always count on to be the fan favorite, the guy who when you needed a big play, that was who you're going to go to kind of guy. And Delanie Walker not only embodied that on the field, but off the field. I mean, he was the guy you would go to.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw him out in the community all the time. He and Marcus Mariota together were, two of the most accessible Titans that I can ever remember.
The Titans have 4 consecutive losing records from 12 to 15. In 2016, Delanie's second season as a captain and Pro Bowler, the team finished with the first of what's turned into 6 consecutive winning seasons. So, again, he was right in the middle of all that. Over his first 5 years with the Titans, had 60-plus catches each year, including 94 for 1,088 yards in 2015, both of which set new Oilers/Titan single-season records. So, very prolific in that offense. And, the reliance on the tight end hasn't been quite the same since he's been gone, but the Titans have always liked their tight ends, and it kind of, from Wycheck to him and coming forward even. So,
yeah, I mean,
he kind of set the standard, felt like.
You go back to the beginning of this franchise in Nashville, and, up until last year, tight end was always a position of strength. And I'm not saying that, Jeff Swaim and those guys weren't good ball players, but they, even the tight ends you have this year, man, we haven't seen great stuff out of Austin Hooper just yet. Hopefully we will. But when Jonnu Smith left, it kind of left a void of that tight end position for the first time since this team has been in Nashville.
Right. The top 4 receiving yardage totals for a tight end in a season belong to Delanie Walker.
Not surprising, because we had nobody else to throw to back then.
He is the 8th all-time leader in career catches, 9th in career receiving yards, 8th in receiving touchdowns, and has the 2nd longest streak in franchise history of consecutive games with a catch.
How about that?
I mean, impactful, clearly.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
82, thank you. We appreciate it. Enjoy retirement. It'll be fun. That's going to do us for segment number 1. Let's get to Landon SECREST right after this. Talk a little association with SECO Sports right after this here on Main Street Sports Today. It's presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We'll be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside Mo Patton, and getting ready for a little professional basketball to tip off here very soon. And in the state of Tennessee, we'll do that in a little over 24 hours, which is exciting. Gotta love that.
Not really ready for it, I don't think, but nobody asked me.
You know, it's funny because Brady McAtamney tweeted yesterday, high school basketball season starts in less than a month. And it's like, man, that snuck up on me. Didn't see that coming.
Not ready for that either.
So, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, let me just get this in. High school wrestling also starts in less than a month.
It's crazy.
Let's not.
How quickly that will creep up on you. But joining us now on Main Street Sports today is Landon SECREST of SECO Sports at SECO_sports here. You can follow him on Twitter. Landon, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. Excited for hoop season starting tonight, opening night. Something I've always looked forward to, always tune into. So I'm honestly pumped for tonight.
So you've already got the pizza ordered and the chips, and you're ready to just kind of settle in. You already got your homework done, so you don't have to worry about that tonight, and just ready to settle in and watch some ball. Huh?
100%.
Wow, that's crazy. I just, for me, for whatever reason, NBA this time of year doesn't really resonate, but I can respect those with whom it does. Landon, it's been a little bit of an odd offseason for the NBA, you know, with the stuff in Boston, you know, with the stuff in Golden State here over the last little bit. I mean, it's I would imagine everybody's ready to get on the court and just play ball.
Right. It's been a lot of extracurricular off the court, I would say, and it's kind of been a distraction as a fan. It's like I just really want to watch basketball and get to the hoops on the court. That's the most important part of the NBA season, in my opinion. All this other stuff is stuff that drives the offseason, but it's really a distraction when it comes down. And you look at the magnitude of the two things that you just mentioned, it really has kind of exploded and gotten bigger than what's on the court, which is the most important thing.
How do you feel like those two teams deal with those two explosive situations as you somewhat characterize them?
Well, it's gonna start tonight because they're both playing opening night. But starting with the Celtics, I think it's gonna be just a challenge with a new coach. I mean, they were so great last season, obviously going to the finals, but you're gonna have somebody else leading the team. Obviously, you still have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but there's going to be a new coach, and whether or not the players are going to listen to him and accept him the same way as they did Udoka, that's going to be something we see probably starting tonight. And then the Warriors, it's interesting as a fan to see kind of the internal chemistry problems that they have, but yet they're still a good team. And we're going to see if they're still going to be a good team despite, one of their best players punching another one of their best players in the face. So we'll see kind of how that rolls out as the season goes on. But I think both teams will be fine because they're both good basketball teams. And like I said in the opening statement, that's the most important thing on the court.
Now, Landon, you're a former athlete. Obviously not to that level of competition, but you're a former athlete. There are disagreements within teams. Things happen. Sometimes things even get to the point of somebody taking a swing or hitting somebody in the face. How do you resolve that within the locker room?
Honestly, it's going to take those players that are leaders of those teams to really step up. You look at the Warriors, Steph Curry, although not the vocal leader that everyone sees him as, that would be Draymond. But Steph Curry, it's your team. You're going
and when your vocal leader is one of those involved, then that kind of throws a little bit of a wrench into the situation.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, they're the leaders of that team, and Draymond, just put it aside and stick to basketball. Let's really focus on what the goal is of making the NBA Finals, NBA championships, what you literally just did last year. So I think that's how they handle it. And then Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown on the Celtics side, they're obviously a younger team, so there might be a little growing pains, but I don't expect them to have a supreme drop-off or anything like that. I think they're mature enough to handle it.
Getting back to Golden State just a second, how does Jordan Poole respond to this? I mean, dude just punched me in the face, and I'm supposed to pass him the ball? What?
It's true.
Well, I mean, he just got paid, so I think that'll suit some. But, Jordan Poole being one of the younger players on the Warriors squad, I don't know how he'll respond in terms of the public light, with it being kind of the first thing that he's really in the public light for. But he's a good basketball player. I think, having somebody like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson is going to really help him. And I think he'll respond good. That's my optimism towards that situation.
And optimism is what you have to have if you're a Golden State fan. Because you just don't know what you're going to get. So you just hope for the best and prepare for the worst, as they say.
There you go.
This Golden State team has every opportunity to continue this dynasty. But there are several teams in the West who could certainly derail it, Memphis being one of those. Who else in the West is a factor?
You look at the Los Angeles Clippers, obviously with Kawhi coming back, he's a top 5 player in the league for sure. And then you look at the additions they had. John Wall playing after 2 years of an absence. We'll see how he looks. So the Clippers are going to be legit. I think obviously Lakers with LeBron and AD, the Warriors are up there. You got some of the younger teams like Luka and the Mavs. You got the Suns. We don't know how they'll be.
They've had a little
off-season
stuff
too. Out in
too.
The playoffs again. Yeah. So it's like I said, those distractions might have an effect on the court with some of those teams that were involved, but they're going to be up there in the mix with the Grizzlies, like you mentioned.
What do you see? What are your expectations, Landon, out of Portland? They've got a local kid, Keon Johnson from Shelville, played at Webb and played a year for UT, will now be in his second year with the Blazers. What are your expectations out of them this time around?
I really think they're going to be a middle-of-the-pack team in the West. You look at Dame last year, missed a lot of time, but I think the Blazers are a good team when they play on the court. Dame, unfortunately, missed a lot of time last year, and Keon looked good in Summer League, and they have some good young pieces. Anthony Simons is a good backcourt piece with McCollum gone. So I think they're going to mesh. There's going to be some growing pains with Keon, like I said, with the younger players, but it's going to be his first time in the fire, really, and I think he's going to get a lot of minutes, and learning from Dame is one of the best opportunities there is.
There's no question there. Dame Lillard is again, he's a guy.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he's one of those guys that you can build a program around and build a franchise around. So I'm really curious to see how the West shakes out, because the East, as it's been forever, feels like, is just
meh.
Yeah, it's just meh. I mean, we talk about the West all day long because it's intriguing. You don't know what's going to happen, even though there are a couple of teams that rise to the top. But the East is kind of like 5A football and TSSAA. It's kind of a wild, wild west. See what happens. And what do you expect to happen out of the East, Landon?
Out of the East, I really feel the same way. It's significantly weaker than the West. I named about 7 or 8 teams that are really in the mix in the West. I think it's maybe 4 to 5 in the East, 76ers, Bucks. You got the Heat, obviously Brooklyn. And then you can throw in maybe 1 or 2 other teams. Atlanta might be in the mix. But I think there's significantly less contenders that will come out of the Eastern Conference.
What do you make of Cleveland after trading for Donovan Mitchell?
You know, Cleveland really did look good last year in the early on. Darius Garland is one of my favorite point guards, obviously with him being a BA product and then a Vandy product for a little bit of time. I really like what the Cavs are doing there, and they can really get a big lineup there with Mobley and Jared Allen, and they got K Love and now Donovan Mitchell. So I think they'll be an exciting team to watch. I don't know how much that will translate into contention right now, but future Cavs are definitely a team to watch.
What do you like about Memphis?
Memphis,
Now, get all that other stuff out the way. Let's talk
I'm
about
a big
what
Ja
we talk about.
big Ja Morant fan. He's legit. If he's on the court, he's legit. And I think everyone knows that, and that's something that NBA fans and other NBA teams should legitimately be scared of because he's for real.
Have we put the Memphis is better without Ja Morant than they are with him? Is that concept done, or should we expect to possibly hear that again if he goes for some period without playing?
I think we'll hear that again, but I didn't really find any truth in that. Obviously, we saw what happened on the court with them playing without him, but you know, your team is better with Ja on it. That's the honest to God truth. So no matter how Memphis performs without him, Ja Morant being on the court is going to be a scary sight to see if he's on the court playing against the Warriors and other contending teams in the West.
Just because you're winning doesn't necessarily mean you're a better team. Sometimes you can find a way to win, and maybe you are a better team overall, but that doesn't mean you can beat other really good teams without your best player. And we absolutely saw that in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So, you know, Ja Morant, it's certainly a talking point, and I think a lot of people said it in jest. And then some people,
I'm not sure all of them said it.
Some people took that jest and were like, well, you know, you might be right. and took it a little bit too far. But yeah, Ja Morant is just, he's on fire. Now, the rest of this team, and this is the one part where I thought Memphis lacked last year, was veteran on-court leadership. Do they have somebody who can provide that in the playoffs, somebody who's been there, done that? Or
I really don't think
been there, done that, happened this year? I mean, last year,
I really don't think they have that veteran, but, you know, Ja's entering his 4th year in the league. You know, he got that playoff experience last year, had that playoff experience before. I think all the players on this team are kind of learning together, and I think that's an important part of what the Grizzlies are doing. They don't really have that old guy per se in the locker room like a Udonis Haslem that's been there. Unfortunately, the Zach Randolphs and the Mike Conleys are all gone. Those would be great pieces to have, you know, to have that veteran presence that's been there before. But the Grizzlies are definitely going to be learning together. They've got the young pieces. They got Ja, a superstar. You know, you got someone like Steven Adams, who's been there on a different team, but, you know, he's not that type of player, but he'll be there. So I think they've got good pieces together.
Steven Adams is kind of that quiet, steady anchor type player, it feels like. And, you know, over the offseason, folks spoke about this concept that they didn't have that veteran and tried to link KD to Memphis. And I think there was a be careful what you wish for type of deal as it related to him coming to Memphis. They dodged that bullet. But like you said, growing up together, there's probably something to be said for that, and for them going through these wars and these growing pains together and putting that together this year.
Yeah, I was kind of afraid when the KD rumors started to float around and trading some of those young pieces like a Desmond Bane, who's really an essential part of the team. And then you look at somebody like Zaire Williams, who had probably been in that trade too, and he's probably going to have a breakout year this year just because he's one of the younger players and he got that experience last year. And, he's actually pretty good on the basketball court, and having someone like Ja that he can grow beside, and Desmond Bain and all the other players, Jaren Jackson Jr., I think they're all going to grow together, like I said before. And we'll really see it on the court. Desmond Bain kind of emerged last year in front of our eyes. And I think there's going to be more players from the Grizzlies that might emerge in front of the whole NBA fan base's eyes.
I certainly hope so, because I've been a John Morant fan, even though, he was my team's rival when he was in college. It was a pleasure to watch him. You can't not love watching him. And folks at Belmont know what it's like. Just ask Casey, well, not Casey Alexander, but go ask Rick Bird. Yeah, Rick Bird. I was like, that's not right.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
It is.
Go ask Rick Bird what John Morant's like. I mean, you couldn't not be a fan watching this guy just be a magician on the basketball court. So I became a de facto Memphis fan, kind of the way I became a de facto Indianapolis Colts and Denver Broncos fan back in the day.
Well, even if he was torching your favorite team, it's kind of fun to watch a guy at the mid-major level like that emerge and force himself onto the national stage the way he did, and then to play like he did against the Marquettes and those type teams in the NCAAs. It just kind of made him compelling to follow as he got to the next level.
And thank God he's a Memphis Grizzly, because otherwise I'm not sure we'd be talking about him on this show. Because Memphis just wouldn't be who they are. I really believe that. And
he's a game changer. He
and
really
I'm glad that we are, because I'm now a, kind of a Memphis Grizzlies fan. And I love talking about them on this show, and hope that they can take that next step. Do you think they can take that next step to in the Western Conference? I mean, to that elite level of where Phoenix and Golden State have kind of been.
Yeah, I think they can take that next step. It's just Ja's got to stay on the court. He's got to be healthy, and the team's got to continue to grow. Jaren Jackson is a young star too, in my opinion, although not on the level of Ja, but, they might be a nice little 1-2 punch if things roll the right way. And I think that'll be a nice little team that the Grizzlies will build, and they'll definitely be in the mix. Golden State's going to be there. The Clippers are going to be there, teams with more veteran presence, but, there's always a young team that wants to get in the mix, and the Grizzlies are kind of beating their head against that wall right now, and they're about to break through it.
like the sound of that. Landon SECREST, you can find him at SECO_sports on Twitter, helping us out with some NBA knowledge here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Landon's going to have the best seat in his house for the Sixers and Celtics tonight, and then the Lakers and Warriors tonight. Now, will you be watching Knicks Grizzlies tomorrow night as well, or?
Yes.
So I have a question. Have you seen this Clippers Vision thing that they've come out with? Okay, so the Los Angeles Clippers have come out with a streaming service that has 8 different streaming options, including an AR courtside camera.
Wow.
Where you can watch it like with your Oculus. And I told you about this, Mo, a little while ago, that this was the future of sports. You can pay $17 a month, give or take, and you can watch every Clippers game courtside. And that's, I mean, is that something that you would do, Landon? That, speaking of best seat in your house?
Yeah, 100%. That's something I would do. I mean, it's all about that game day experience. And, if I'm a Clippers fan living in Tennessee, I might not be able to go to the game, but I can go to the game if I'm on Clippers Vision, now that you just explained. So,
and they also have Baller Vision, which is like they've got Paul Pierce, a couple of other guys who they call them Clippers legends. I think they're legends who played for the Clippers at some point. Baron Davis is on there, I think. And
Baron Davis?
Yeah.
So, gun optional?
Gun optional. And so, but they have 4 guys on there who are just reacting to the game like that. They just watch all 82 games.
Oh, so they're kind of like Peyton and Eli.
It's kind of like Peyton and Eli, just watching the game and reacting to it and having a good time. So it's actually really cool. I hope that more teams will do this because I think it's really neat. But I was just curious if you'd heard about that, because I would absolutely buy a season pass for whatever, and just to be able to sit courtside for NBA games. That'd be super cool.
100%.
Landon, we appreciate your time as always. We will talk to you very soon. I'm certain of it. So thanks, man.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, not a problem, man. Glad to have you.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll get to the college football that we didn't get to yesterday because of the Titans announcement and lots of Tennessee, Alabama talk. So
Well, it's all still relevant.
Still relevant. So we'll get right to it right after this on Main Street Sports Tip, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
Other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama, so other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Glad to have you with us here on this Top 5 Tuesday edition, getting into some of the college football that we missed yesterday. But one of the reasons that we missed it again is that Titan Stadium announcement. And I'm going to ask you one question about this and we can move on. I asked Terry McCormick about it this morning because I've been getting tweets and was essentially called a liar this morning.
Okay.
Off of but whatever, neither here nor there. That, and I read that it's kind of been the standard that 70,000 was the cutoff for hosting a Super Bowl. Now, in Terry McCormick's article on Titan Insider and Main Street Nashville, he quotes Burke Nihill as saying that 55 to 60 would be what the NFL is looking for in order to host a Super Bowl. Tell me they've 1,000% done their due diligence and made these phone calls before they did this, right?
I would certainly like to think so. I would certainly like to. I mean, the NFL, there is an NFL piece to the financial component of this situation. So they've certainly been in discussions with the NFL. So I would like to think that even if, on the off chance that the Titans did not do their due diligence on this, I would think that the NFL said, look, with everything that you guys have going on in Nashville, obviously we've had the draft there. Obviously, it's one of the top tourism destinations in the country, that kind of thing. Everybody knows that, whether they're related to athletics or not. If you're going to build a new stadium and we want to get you all into the Super Bowl rotation with Dallas, with New Orleans, with some of these other places, you've got to be able to seat X. I mean, even if the Titans aren't asking those questions, I would think that the NFL is being proactive and saying, don't forget this.
I mean,
so
and you look around, Superdome, 72. Obviously, AT&T is about 85. Lucas Oil, 70.
I mean,
those are the places that you're looking at for the NFL, for not just for the Super Bowl, but for college football playoffs.
Right.
That's what you're looking for the Final Four.
Right.
I mean, are they going to be okay with 57-5 splitting the difference? I mean, you're looking at losing 13,000 tickets.
Or the NFL is looking at losing whatever 13,000 tickets times whatever that is.
And then so for the college football playoffs, so for the Final Four, I mean, is 55-60 the right number for Nashville? Yes. But
is it the right number for those national events where people are going to travel from all over the country to get to?
That you have to have in order to.
Right, because you're not going to sell Final Four to 60,000 Nashvillians.
And this may be the kicker here, and we can move on after this. 55-60 may be what Nashville's infrastructure can hold. We can't have 70,000 out-of-town people here at
Moving
one
around.
time,
Yeah.
because our infrastructure can't take that. So are you willing to give us these events
At this number.
And if you are, we can do this. Otherwise, we got to figure out something else.
Again, I'd like to think that those conversations have taken place. I would certainly hate to build a 57.5 seat facility and then be told it's still too small. Sorry.
Yeah, that's not enough.
That's not enough. We can't do that. No Super Bowl, no Final Four, no college football playoff, none of that. All of the things that you have sold to your constituency in building this, none of that's there.
That's a problem. So anyway, that was my thought. And someone said that. They said, look, 50, I'm reading 70. And I'm like, Nihil said this. And I read 72.
So I mean, what was it that you were called a liar about?
How this would be funded.
I think there's a lot of hair splitting with regards to how this will be funded.
There's no hair splitting. It literally takes you've got two options, Nashville. You can involuntarily fund this because you're on the hook.
As it stands right now.
As it stands, you're on the hook at right now from the general fund, $1.2 billion.
Right.
Or you can voluntarily, if you want to pay, you can go travel somewhere within the state, pay a hotel tax, and part of it will go to pay for the stadium. It's voluntary tax, involuntary tax, your choice.
Yeah.
So anyway,
but I think the hair splitting comes when the mayor gets up and says, this isn't going to affect your family, when the fact of the matter is, it is going to affect your family, just not necessarily directly.
Sure. Yeah. But what he's saying is, hey, look.
And then when he was asked about it directly by Jason Lamb of WTVF last night, or during the press conference, I saw it on last night's news. He's like, well, that's the state component. That's between them and the state. Metro's not in it. And so that's kind of where the hair splitting comes in. It's like, it's not us.
But
the state
is also, their 500 million bonds are being paid for out of tourism.
Right.
The tourism department is taking out the bonds. So again, I mean, I don't understand.
The bottom line is, it's somewhat politics as usual. Yeah. I mean, Cooper's trying to paint himself and the city of Nashville in the best possible light, and some people have issues with it. But again, this isn't money that would be going somewhere else if it weren't going to this. And that's my biggest takeaway from the whole thing, that money isn't being diverted from education. Money isn't being diverted from
it's actually being put back into
neither of those needs,
absolute needs,
were going to get met were it not for this.
Correct.
So,
and that's
my biggest thing,
is they're getting extra money because of it, because now they don't have to pay those bonds and those
And
maintenance
that money
fees
can go
goes back into the general fund.
ideally. So we'll see.
Now, college football. Sorry. I like having that conversation because it's frustrating when you're trying to tell people what to do or what's going on, and because you've read into it, you understand how government works. You've covered city governments for the last 10 years of your life. You understand how
Who
it
are
works.
you and what do you know?
Yeah. And I'm just literally called a liar by, Micah 1-2-7-4-14-12-32, that guy. Anyway, so Michigan absolutely demolishes Penn State. Now,
As someone called.
let
I didn't call demolish, but
let me ask this, because going into this game, I didn't think Penn State was that great. I thought their win over Auburn wasn't anything special because everybody's beating Auburn right now, but I also didn't think Michigan was all that good either. Now, Michigan might have won me over a little bit.
Michigan might be good.
They might be. I still don't.
Khakis and all, huh?
Khakis and all. I don't know, but they're certainly better than I expected them to be. I expected this to be a slobber knocker and a knockdown drag out between two mid teams, and I think one of them kind of rose to the occasion.
One of them wasn't as mid as you thought.
Right.
Yeah.
So, is this a team that can compete with Ohio State? Not that we know how good Ohio State is either.
I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I was involved in that conversation at the barbershop earlier today. We don't know how good Ohio State is. We think they're pretty good. Again, I think it's Georgia, Ohio State, and kind of everybody else at this point. And no one has stepped up to show otherwise. Maybe that is Michigan. I don't know who else in the Big Ten it's going to be.
Yeah, it's yeah.
If it's not Michigan challenging Ohio State, then we're not going to know how good Ohio State is until we get to the college football playoff.
Absolutely. Their best win to date is Toledo. It's the truth.
I know it is.
It's
I know it is.
And you don't know. And going forward, Penn State, now you go, it's not a great win. It's probably your best win at that point because every other win's been so bad. But it's Penn State, and they just got boat raced. So I don't know, man.
Where was that game?
At Michigan.
Okay.
Which makes a little difference.
A little.
But not enough that it should have been, 41-17 or something?
I believe that's what the score was.
It was quite a beatdown.
It was 2 touchdowns, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Hang on, I've got it. Yeah, 41-17. Happy Valley wasn't going to make up 24 points.
No, not at all. Not at all. So Michigan is, at least right now, we think, for real. Go figure. The other,
and you owe Jim Harbaugh an apology.
I do
for now.
For now, yeah. The other undefeated team, TCU, Oklahoma State, overtime. It kind of lived up to the hype, as did.
I think that's the most fun about Alabama, Tennessee, TCU, Oklahoma State, that kind of thing. When you expect a great ball game and you get a great ball game, regardless of who wins, you don't get up at the end of that 3.5 hours and think, well, that was a waste of time, like I would have had I gone to Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
So, I think as a college football fan, as a sports fan, I think that's really all you can ask for. Just make it a good game. Make it an enjoyable experience to watch.
Now, I know they could potentially play each other again, but in the event that Oklahoma State and TCU were to meet for the Big 12 championship and Oklahoma State was to win, then what?
They're probably both out.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
I think TCU, having won the first time around, I think is the Big 12's best chance.
Unless it's Texas. Do you think Tennessee beating Texas may have Tennessee beating Alabama may have dampened that Texas performance?
Oof. It's a good question.
Because, again, we talked about Texas being with 2 losses without Quinn Ewers, but they had to survive against Iowa State.
Mm-hmm. I think it kind of is going to depend on what Texas does going forward.
We talked about style points.
Mm-hmm.
They need some. This weekend wasn't it. 20-17 and held on barely by the skin of your teeth. It's not the way you want to do it against, in the Big 12 because you
especially with Ewers back.
Yeah, you had Quinn Ewers. You have no excuses
Mm-hmm.
other than it's Iowa State and they always do something goofy.
Well, and Iowa State plays a style of football that kind of uglies things up a little bit. They try to keep things close and win it at the end. So
very much so. That was kind of way down my list. But on top of that, though, Clemson survived. Florida State trip to Tallahassee. Is that a good win though?
I don't know that it's a good win, but Clemson's kind of the cockroach of college football. You just can't kill them.
Well, I mean, now that LSU has gone into Florida and won, right? You can't blame them for what happened against Tennessee because Tennessee just proved to you they're one of the top 3 teams in the country.
Right.
I mean, Florida State's not bad.
They're not bad.
Which is a little surprising.
They're not bad.
And at home, it's still Florida State. You're still going to sell out, Doak Campbell.
Right.
And it's hard to win a road game like that against a pretty good football team. I mean, congrats to Clemson. I think they probably should have won by a little more, but you can't dock them really for it. It's still a road game
it's a road game in the conference in a hostile environment. Yeah. So, I mean, they won it. You have to give them credit for it. I think you just have to be careful how much credit you give them for it.
USC and Utah. Did you watch any of that?
I watched kind of the tail end of that, and I didn't realize that they had the tribute to the 2 fallen players from last year. Did you see the helmets?
No.
Yeah, they had.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
they were wild.
Yeah, they had the players' faces on.
So I was trying to figure it out. I was like, what in the world is going on with this Utah helmet?
Yeah.
But that makes sense now. Okay.
But yeah, they scored late and then they
went for 2
and got it
at home with time left.
Hey, we're gonna win it right here. We're not gonna mess around. And then
the timing issue at the end of the game.
Yeah. At home.
Oh man, here's what got me was how did you put time back on the clock? I mean, if anything, I would have taken 4 seconds off the clock. I wouldn't have put 4 seconds back on the clock.
I think you almost are going to have to at some point put an official on or next to the clock, because I'm not sure that the officiating crew on the field really has a feel for the timing situation. I mean, we've seen some things screwed up both at the collegiate and at the high school level with clock and time and that kind of thing. And
well, I mean, an official
they've got to be better.
They have an ECO. It's an official. It's an official who is the ECO, right?
But I mean, the ECO, all he's doing is pushing buttons and if there's some kind of malfunction or something like that, if there's a malfunction with the clock that is beyond the ECO, then the officiating crew is doing whatever it is they're doing.
Well, the reason the clock stopped is because an official on the field signaled for time to stop.
Well, I mean, I wasn't speaking about that specific situation. I just mean in general. I mean, you're seeing some timing situations that are being mishandled that are creating some issues.
No question.
Yeah.
I mean, the back judge in the Tennessee-Alabama game on the defensive pass interference was signaling incomplete pass when Kool-Aid was running down the sideline. So, I mean,
yeah,
you just got to be better than that. But I thought that was interesting that it went from, and Kyle Whittingham was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, are you serious right now? And then it ended up not mattering. Obviously,
But
UCLA
he was not a happy guy.
but USC couldn't. They couldn't complete a pass, and Utah ends up winning. UCLA now the lone unbeaten in the Pac-12 after almost losing to South Alabama at home. It's got to
But
be
here's
hard.
the thing: just about everybody has an almost
Every year.
this year in particular. It seemed like again Alabama, Texas.
Okay, but it's got to be hard to get up for South Alabama when you know there's going to be about 2,500 people there watching you. It's okay. It's probably easier to get up for a game and get a little more juiced if there's 100,000 people screaming for you.
Sure.
But if there's 25 of you out there in a 115,000 seat stadium, it feels like it's got to be hard to get up for South Alabama in that kind of environment. It's like a scrimmage.
You're not wrong.
So
Yeah.
I'm not going to put that on UCLA. You know, it is an almost, and you know, you can't lose to South Alabama, but they didn't, and that's
Right.
what matters.
Yep.
So
And I think a lot of times a lot of teams aren't given enough credit for that. You know?
just not losing.
Yeah. I think there's value in that sometimes.
Find a way. Kentucky, were you surprised that at the
The margin?
Yeah,
I was. Didn't expect that.
I think I picked Kentucky to win this game out.
I believe you did. I believe you were the only one of us that picked Kentucky to win that game, actually. But I don't know if it's the SEC. I don't know if it's Mississippi State. I don't know if it's Mike Leach. But, I mean, just when you think you've got some of these folks figured out, you get smacked in the face.
Listen, Will Levis is a difference maker. I'm not saying that he's a top 10 pick in the NFL draft like some people, but he definitely makes a difference for that team.
Mhm.
And for that offense. They built this team around him. So if he's in the game,
They got
a shot.
Yeah.
So I saw there was a tweet that said you had a will, we had a will or something. We had the will that won. It was hilarious. Whatever it was really good. Very clever. Anyway, well, we're up against our what's up?
That was hilarious.
Oh, thanks. We're up against our break, and Chip is on the is on deck. But before we get out of here, men's and women's basketball polls were released, and South Carolina, obviously,
Surprise.
surprise. The question was, who is the better women's basketball conference, SEC or ACC?
SEC or ACC? Who does the ACC have that compares to South Carolina? Who am I missing?
Well, apparently they both got 9 teams in. Well, you've got North Carolina, Duke, who are both apparently very good.
Well, I hesitate to say anything bad about Duke with VFL Carol Lawson at the helm over there. So
let me just kind of
yeah,
because the question did come up, and I here it is. And this was 5 days ago on ESPN, but I don't see. Oh, Notre Dame is in the ACC.
they don't count.
In Notre Dame is in the ACC.
Are they counting them among the
women's basketball.
the 9 ACC teams in the top 25?
This is for women's basketball. They are an ACC member of women's basketball and men's basketball for that matter. North Carolina, Virginia Tech, NC State, Duke. I mean, Miami, Georgia Tech.
I guess we just need an ACC SEC challenge, kind of like
Let's find out.
SEC Big 12 men's.
Yeah. So,
Draw them up.
You're
Let's
right,
play.
though. I don't know if there's any ACC team that comes close to either South Carolina. I mean, outside of Notre Dame, I guess they've been pretty good, but didn't realize they
Maybe
were
in
ACC.
South Carolina.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And then the men's basketball polls topped by North Carolina for the 10th time. First time. That's the most among AP polls.
So Tennessee is ranked number 3 in the country in football, number 5 in women's basketball, and number 11 in men's basketball. It's pretty good October.
Wait, you said number 5?
In women.
And number 11?
In men.
Those are good numbers on Rocky Top right now.
11 and 5.
Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt.
Nice.
Nice. It's all working out. You're ranked number 3 because you beat Alabama by 3. Things are very there's a lot of symmetry up on Rocky Top right now.
Numerologists would have a field goal with UT right now, huh? A field goal. See what I did
field
there?
goal. There you go. I mean, it would be fantastic.
That would be a field day.
I knew what you meant. I was just going with it. It was fine by me. I figure anybody who's
listening
has a brain probably figured that out.
They would have a field goal.
Oh man. Well, let's take a quick break right here. We'll be back in just a minute with Chip Walters joining us live from the sandy beaches, probably of Alabama. We'll find out right after this. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Oh, welcome back in. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao and Mo Patton coming to you here on this Top 5 Tuesday, Top 5 walk-offs. Should be fun and exciting. But before we get to those, got to get to the beach, where Chip Walters joins us with his headset. I like the headset.
Well, I use it every week.
Yeah, but I didn't
not on the
expect it
beach.
That's correct.
Well, I just thought that it would be like, I mean, have you got your laptop or does it go into your phone?
It's in my phone. And normally when I connect with you guys, I connect on the phone because I've got it right behind my laptop screen, so I can actually look up stuff while we're talking and not have to switch windows.
Today he's not looking anything up.
That's correct. I'm looking at that.
The only
right
thing
there.
I got you. I'm not even sure I would turn my back to that if I were you. But where exactly are you, Chip?
Right here at the edge of the Gulf of Mexico, in Perdido Key, Florida. But I can look that way and literally see the Floribama. I'm that close to the line.
That's what we like.
Awesome.
That's what we like to hear.
Awesome. Well, how long you down there, man?
A few more days, most of the week, since we have an open date this Saturday. So, I tell you this morning, I mean, I'm sure it was there, a little chilly this morning. So, instead of coming out and for a full day on the beach, it was not necessarily beach weather this morning. So I made a little road trip up to Buc-ee's today.
Yeah, Buc-ee's isn't far. It was the first one outside of Texas was built on.
That's right.
Well, I will say this: if you're gonna be cold, you might as well be on the beach cold.
That's right. And the thing, I came back and it's warmed up a good bit. So it's not. Yesterday was hot, and but the rest of the week it's going to be pretty like this all week, and it's just going to get warmer back up to where it's around 75, close to 80 before I leave.
Well,
so I look forward to that.
Well, I hope you're having a good time. I'm glad you're having a good time, and you and some other folks probably deserve a break after this last stretch of Blue Raider football.
Well, and I appreciate that, but it's this has been a streaky year, you start off against a really good James Madison team, then you come back and you win 3 in a row, including obviously the Miami game, but then you have that stretch that we've talked about since the summer of the 3 conference games against the 3 teams that were picked 1, 2, 3 in the league. And, they're good enough as it is. And then, right now during those 3 games, Middle's been without DJ England Chisholm. You were down 2, both your 1 and 2 weak side linebacker were gone Saturday. But, the defense played a good bit better Saturday. The offense just could not get anything going. And it has seemed like now for a couple of weeks in a row that Chase Cunningham has kind of been running for his life a little bit, whether that is because of offensive line play or is he bailing out a little early from time to time. And Coach Stock talked a little bit about that. But, I mean, we had a dreadful third down efficiency number, but on Saturday against Western Kentucky, but it was not due to third downs mainly. It's because, they had, problems on first and second down getting anything generated. And then once Western had kind of established itself, they really brought some heat on third downs, when we were there and had 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, that kind of thing, and forced Chase into some, just get rid of the ball without, so he wouldn't take a sack. So it was, Saturday was not the most fun day because, it felt like, okay, you got to halftime and it was 14-10 and it's like, man, hanging in there, defense playing pretty good, forcing it to be a game between the 20s. And then, I was really concerned about Western's opening drive in the second half. And Coach Stock talks about it a lot, that the middle 8 minutes, the last 4 of the first half, first 4 of the second half are key. And sure enough, they were able to take that opening drive of the second half and go down and score. It was about a 75-yard drive, something like that. And, it went all of a sudden to 21-10, and you still had not generated much offense. And it felt like it was almost 121-10. But and trying to, find something to dig out of that hole was tough. And now I think the open date probably comes at a good time because this team does need some healing up physically and hopefully get some things straightened out along the offensive line and be able to, now that the schedule does turn a little bit into your favor, although your next 2 games are on the road, it's you are at least getting down into deeper into where the preseason predictions were. So UTEP, La Tech on the road, home for FAU or home for Charlotte and FAU, and then on the road at FIU to wind things up in the regular season. And Middle's been pretty good in late October and throughout November in the past.
I want to get back, Chip, just a second to one point that you made regarding the Western game from this past weekend. MTSU fell 35-17 and on homecoming in that one. But you mentioned third down efficiency. And, not all third downs are created equal.
That is correct.
Big difference in 3rd and 9 and 3rd and 2.
That's correct.
And that kind of gets back, like you said, to what you're doing on 1st and 2nd down. And so you getting yourself into manageable third down situations is a big key in being able to convert third downs.
That's correct. I mean, you hear a lot of the coach speak and all of that, playing ahead of the chains. I mean, if you get 4 or 5 on first down, boy, that makes your second down. That leaves you a whole lot of options for second down. And if you can get 2 or 3 more on second down, that leaves you, like what you said, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. And that gives Mitch Stewart all kinds of options of things he can do at that point, where if you're 3rd and 9, depending on the field position, the defense either knows you're going to throw it, or if you're backed up, chances are you're going to see a draw play just to make sure you're safe for a punt coming up. So it, to be able to play well and stay ahead of the chains on first and second down, it's a huge thing when it comes to third downs, and you probably put it about as good as it can be that all third downs are not indeed created equal.
Not ideal when your punter is named the Ray Guy Punter of the Week, but at least it's a consolation prize.
It's the back. I mean, it's the backhanded compliment because he's he's been terrific. At Miami, he had 3 games in a row, I think, where he averaged over 50 yards a kick, and but even when we're talking about we're in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, but in wins, I mean, he's a terrific weapon to have because, he has the ability, and I'm going to talk to him sometime about it, of just, how slight is the difference in your foot angle to where you're trying to kick one that's going to get a lot of hang time as opposed to kicking one that's going to stay under the wind, like more of an Aussie type kick, or, how does he get that back spin where he can check it up, at the 5 or 10 yard line? I mean, he is a very, very talented guy, and he does deserve all the plaudits and credit he's getting, and to be in that conversation for the Ray Guy Award. Yeah, it happens if you punt a lot, but he's been very effective in his punts as well.
Well, I mean, you can punt a lot and not be good.
That's
correct. That's the alternative, right?
Yeah. Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, joining us here, as he does every Tuesday on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. And he's joining us even as he's beaching. So kudos to you, Chip. We appreciate your dedication to our show. Now, what happens with your show tomorrow?
It's recorded. I haven't been on long enough to have a best of yet, but so no.
Neither have we. But
actually, and ironically, my show in the morning on WGNS is about travel with a travel agent. So we recorded it last Wednesday, and talking about all kinds of stuff. Whether it's we talked a lot about Gulf Coast travel, Disney, cruises, and international travel. So that's at 9 a.m.
If it's travel, you probably should have done it live.
Now that would have been fun. And see, I need you for that. You're an idea guy. That's what I got right there.
I'm an idea guy. Somebody else has got to carry it out, though. Chip, I've noticed online here over the last few days on Twitter and the like, there's at least one balloting campaign relative to the 50th year of Murphy Center. Fans can go, I guess, to GoRaiders.com and vote for the top 15 men's basketball players to have played, MTSU basketball players to have played at Murphy Center since its opening 50 years ago. And I actually voted on that.
Yep, I did too, and it's the first of several you're going to see out there. There will be there will be an all opponents team. And you think back over, over time, you had Carolina and Kansas in here. You've had, and I'm not sure if it's opponents or but Magic Johnson may be on that list as well for having played on that floor.
Yeah, it might just be
non-MTSU college players. That may be it. And then then you have a women's team, non-MTSU women's team, and the folks at the TSSAA are also helping out. There will be girls and boys teams, and I think that there have been so many come through there. It ought to be 50 for 50. You could easily have 25 or 30 guys and the same number, if not more, women who have played on that floor.
I could come up with that without breathing hard, man.
Yep. And then there's probably going to be a poll on favorite top whatever favorite concerts of all time that have ever been there. So I think they're going to have a little fun with it, as the year goes along. And this morning, as a matter of fact, was the kickoff or tip-off celebration for the 50th anniversary of Murphy Center. And today they actually not dedicated, but had kind of a ribbon cutting or tipped off the celebration, but also really informed people about the new glass that is in Murphy Center. This new fancy glass that detects sunlight and automatically tints, kind of like the old sunglasses used to. But this is all done with electrical current, but it's pretty fabulous, and it's the biggest project like this on a college campus anywhere in the country. Matter of fact, the other big project nearby that's going to use this technology will be the renovation of Nashville International Airport. So it's going to have this same kind of glass in it, but there's 30,000 square feet of glass walls around the outside of Murphy Center, and over 1,300 panels of glass, just under 1,100 panels of glass. And so there was a lot of walking down memory lane this morning with the celebration they had. And you can find that on the MTSU Facebook page or Twitter, either one.
That's pretty impressive. And I think a few weeks ago now, Chip, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you have Harold Smith on from
I did.
a long time special events?
Yeah,
I'm not
sure
exactly
did.
what his title was, but he was kind of the driving force behind all of those great concerts that Murphy Center used to hold.
Yeah, he was, and his title was Director of Student Programming, and that. If you go to my Facebook page and go back a few weeks, you can find the podcast for that. And it really told a lot of great stories about shows and people that he had to deal with, like Colonel Parker and all of that, and how, like, the U2 concert kind of came out of nowhere. They had a hole in their schedule and needed a date to play and a place to play, and they pulled that off in about 2 weeks. And so there was a lot of really good stories. Harold was there this morning, and so he's gonna that will probably be a best of that we'll run again at some point during this year. But he and a guy named, one thing I learned out of this morning celebration is that when Murphy Center was built, it was not built to even hold concerts in. It was and so they had to. I don't know whether they had to retrofit anything, but they had to come in and do a whole new series of engineering tests to make sure that, that all the sound and lights and stuff could be hung from the ceiling and all of that. So there were, and Bill Smotherman, who ran the building for a long time, should get a ton of credit for that.
Absolutely. I'm sure Harold tells great stories because he's a great storyteller. And
I'll tell you what, the other thing Harold can do is Harold has the ability, and I've heard him do this, is in the movie Patton, where he has the soliloquy there, where he's talking about, you put your hand into the belly of a friend, that kind of that whole speech that he makes. Harold can do that word for word.
Oh, goodness. He's something else. I was fortunate enough as a student at MTSU to work in special events. And
that was a prized student job right there.
Well, and prized within the prize was stage crew, because if you work stage crew, you got paid cash. Everybody else got checks later on. So you got paid cash the night of, and you got whatever beverages the roadies didn't drink.
Well, there probably wasn't a whole lot left most of the time. Be surprised.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a fun gig. That was a lot of fun. Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, joining us from Perdido Key, Florida, here on Main Street Sports Today.
Go toss a mullet for us.
Okay, I'll do that.
Please. If you make it to the Floribama, and
I hope you're going to have some great seafood while you're down there.
Well, I started that last night, as a matter of fact. So it should be a week-long parade of good seafood every evening. That's the plan, at least.
Awesome.
I'll text you if any of my friends are playing at the Floribama, and we'll hook you up.
And I could say I'm with the band.
You can absolutely.
That would be.
It would be kind of like getting free drinks from the roadies, but
kind of like.
You probably have to pay for yours, but it's okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Enjoy.
Chip, we appreciate
thank you,
it,
boys.
man. All righty.
All right.
TWSAA volleyball matches in progress right now. Loretto up on Sell Creek 1-0 with a 20-12 win in game two. Brentwood just won game 2, 25-20 over West Ridge, and Creekwood is up.
What did they do in game 1? Brentwood.
They won, so they're up 2-0. They just won game 2. Sorry. They're up 2-0, and then Creekwood is up 1-0, and they are tied with Lexington right now 20-20 in game 2. So.
Ooh, okay. Nail biter.
There you go. Yeah. We'll be right back with the top 5 walk-offs in sports history right after this on Main Street Sports Show, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TWSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. This Top 5 Tuesday brought to you by our friends at Mid-South 5 Fitness. Style is still in the gang, stillathletes.com, STEEL athletes.com, and STEEL athletes on Instagram and Facebook at Still Athletes. Go visit them at one of their great locations, one in Columbia, one in Franklin. Dallas will keep you jumping high and pumping iron.
And running fast.
Running fast. Fast, Chad.
Think fast, run fast.
That's right. Think fast, run fast, and you'll be good to go. Today's top 5 is top 5 walk-offs, obviously brought to you by the most recent walk-off Saturday in Neyland Stadium, where Chase McGrath knocked home a field goal to beat Alabama. This doesn't have to be – this is any sport, as long as it ended the game.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think baseball – but it's not necessarily the case, as witnessed by what prompted this one. Now, all of mine are baseball.
I was about to say, me too.
And now,
okay, I'm a little shocked there by one of you, but anyway.
There's probably something I'm missing, and I'll let you point it out to me later.
It's my number 2.
Oh, okay.
That you're missing, and I know you're going to be mad when you hear it.
Okay. Well, that said, I'm going to start. How's that?
Go for it.
Full rank. My number 5 was, like I said, they're all baseball. This one involves the Braves. Unfortunately, it wasn't a Brave, but Game 4 of the 2005 NLDS, Astros Braves, 18 innings. Former UT second baseman Chris Burke solo shot at Minute Maid to win it 7-6 in 18 innings.
The 18th inning and then DS, they're money.
Yeah, exactly.
They're money.
They're money. If they get you to the 18th, you better watch out. Yeah, you're done. So, yeah, that's my number 5.
All right, number 5, Justin.
So all mine are actually Barry Bonds as well.
What? Dang. Okay.
Except for the last one. But I have the I have it pulled up if that's not too much.
Yeah, go ahead. We only have like 4 minutes though.
Right. I got you.
Got to be quick.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You can use film room. That works.
Yeah. No sound, but this is a knock from the boy.
So what's the situation here? Because there's nobody there.
Right, no context at all. It's a walk off.
Dusty Baker though.
Yeah. This is a walk off against the Phillies.
Yeah. Clearly, it wasn't a postseason game because there's nobody there.
Yeah, COVID. No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
literally nobody.
Yeah.
That's insane. My number 5 is Devontae Smith catching the game winner against Georgia in the national championship. That's a great walk-off. 2nd and 26. Are you kidding me? That's a great walk-off.
So you're giving Devontae Smith credit for that one and not Tua, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess both of them.
Okay.
2nd and 26 is my walk-off.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. My number 4, 1993 World Series Game 6. Joe Carter. Mitch Williams, 2-run homer. Blue Jays 7, Philadelphia 6. Jays win the series 4-2.
Yeah. I was happy too, because anybody to beat the Phillies.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Number 4, Justin?
My number 4 is, so I got the scenario this time. It's Barry Bonds hitting a 3-run walk-off home run off of Trevor Hoffman to give the Giants 7-6 win over the Padres in
anytime you can walk off Trevor Hoffman.
That's
what I see. Yeah, exactly. It was in 95.
Yeah.
95?
Yes.
Going way back for that.
That doesn't happen.
It was a good year.
Mm-hmm.
Good year.
It was 95. A good year, 95.
Yeah, exactly. And y'all go ahead. Keep
you're number 4.
My number 4, Edgar Renteria. Extra innings, Game 7, 96 or 97?
97.
97.
Yeah. Luis Gonzalez, right?
No.
Who scored?
Oh, I don't know who scored. Luis Gonzalez had the one in 2000.
98. No, 98.
For the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
But no, 97, Edgar Renteria, game winner, Game 7, extra innings for the Marlins. That just you got to feel bad for Cleveland fans. You just do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's been a tough go.
Yeah.
1948. Wow.
Sheesh.
Okay, my number 3. This was not a home run, but with the Mariners trailing the Yankees 5-4 in the bottom of the 11th, Joey Cora's on second, Ken Griffey's on first. Edgar Martinez hits one down the left field line for a double, and Griffey comes all the way around. And I was thinking about this. For everything about Ken Griffey Jr.'s game, nobody really talked about his speed. Man, he was wide open. I mean, go back and look at the video there. That was he. As soon as that ball was hit, he knew he was going to try to score anyway. And sure enough, he got in there. Mariners 6-5 in the final game of the ALDS in 95. So that's my number 3.
Nice. So I got another Barry Bonds one. We're kind of going down the trip of memory lane, increasing in years as we go. But 97 walk-off home run against the Astros. The pitcher was Jose Lima in the 9th.
Lima time.
Yeah, to give a win to the Giants over the Astros 4-3.
Your number 3?
My number 3, Alex Walls June 17th, 2006 at the DeSoto Civic Center in South Haven, Mississippi. Top-ranked Memphis Explorers leading 42-40, and the Steel Dogs sucked. And number one Memphis was about to beat us for the first time ever. Bradley Chavez, UAB alum, with an interception, sets up a 25-yarder. And Alex Walls, the UT great, knocks it home for the 43-42 win. Yeah, so Steel Dogs connection. I don't have the helmet right here. It's over there.
It's over there.
But UT connection. It didn't get any better for me. Number 19, baby. Where's he from? He's I can't
Alex
remember where he's
Walls?
from. Yeah.
Name sounds familiar. I'm not sure where he's from. My number 2, I was actually sitting at home watching this one, the 1996 College World Series championship game. Warren Morris, who had missed most of the year for LSU with a broken hand, hits his first homer of the year into the right field corner. It was a 2-out, 2-run homer to push LSU past Miami 9-8. First of the year.
Nice. That's a good one.
Bristol.
Hmm?
He is from Bristol.
Bristol.
Virginia.
Okay. Oh, not Tennessee.
Not Tennessee.
All right. So that's my number 2. What's your number 2?
Justin?
My number 2, I'm going to switch it up just off the top of the head here. We're going to go away from Barry Bonds and hit up Vince Young in 2011 when he went and visited his hometown, or I don't know if he's from there, but his college town, the Houston Texans, and he walked off a run about 40 yards straight up the middle down the gut to win it in his college town. Everybody went crazy. Even the Texans fans, they didn't want to, but they did.
You're a number 2.
Also Titans. Music City Miracle.
Ooh,
I forget that.
That's solid. I didn't forget it. That's well, I didn't think about it. But yeah, that was solid.
Music City Miracle. That would have been number 1.
This guy right here.
Oh, KD.
Yeah. Music City Miracle.
Oh, well, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He threw the pass.
He's got something.
Definitely went backwards, right? No, Wycheck threw the pass. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he caught it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. He would have been number 1 had he stretched a little bit farther, unfortunately. If he'd had go gadget arms, he'd have been number 1.
That's it. My number 1, and it was in an otherwise meaningless game, actually. May 20th, 2010. Brooks Conrad. Raw dog.
Oh, the grand slam.
Pinch hit. Grand slam. Caps a 7-run rally as Atlanta beats Cincinnati 10-9.
That's a good one. I forgot about that one.
I don't know how.
I mean, I just didn't think about it. Right. That's a good one. That's a good one. My number 1.
Wait a minute. It's not your turn.
That's right.
Real quick, so this is a video, but it's only like 5 seconds. It's just the most disrespectful bat flip I've ever seen. It's Jose Bautista against the Texas Rangers. Game 5 in LDS. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about.
This bat flip is disrespectful.
I mean, it got me so hyped for baseball. I love it.
I don't know. Is it more disrespectful than
Than
Schwarber?
You tell me.
It got him in a fight the next game.
I mean, he threw the entire bat.
Look at him. Yeah, I think it was on
I
second
don't know,
base.
Get that out of here. Oh, yeah. Hoskins is going to have to answer for that next year.
I don't know. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
If they you walked to get to me, I think he deserved it.
I got you.
The Braves deserve that one.
Bet.
My number 1, we don't get a chance to have a World Series championship poster in here if Eddie Rosario on the back of Austin Riley doesn't walk off the Dodgers in the NLDS last year. And so it might have just been a single, but it might have been the biggest single in Braves recent history.
No doubt.
So that was it. Eddie Rosario.
I've got an honorable mention.
Sid Brink?
No.
That's a pretty good honorable mention.
But
That's my honorable
I
mention.
could not think of the kid's name at first, but Vanderbilt baseball fans are going to appreciate this one. 2003 final regular season series against Tennessee at Hawkins Field. Worth Scott from Hendersonville hit a 2-run homer to right off Luke Hoshavar to give the Commodores a 6-5 victory, knocking Tennessee out of the SEC tournament that year, and I think punching Vanderbilt's ticket to get in. A lot of people that follow Vanderbilt baseball kind of feel like that was the start of everything that Vanderbilt baseball has become right there. So that was a pretty big one, and it probably should have been on my list. But like I said, I couldn't think of his name, and it finally came to me. So honorable mention to Worf Scott, 2003 Vanderbilt.
Nice.
It's a good one. There you go. That is our Top 5 Tuesday, brought to you by Mid-South 5 Fitness. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here. Again, you can follow us on Twitter at ms_sports today. You can watch this show. If you missed it, you can download our podcast, because eventually I think we're going to be we'll have our podcast back up starting this week. Thanks to Justin, who is working hard to make that happen. So we appreciate that. Download the podcast, Main Street Sports Today, wherever you get your podcasts, or you can just watch it on demand on Main Street Media TV, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or on your iOS, Roku, or Fire Stick device. That's going to do it for today. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We will see you tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, 2:00, with more scores, schedules from the rundown. We'll have Heather Williams, and
we'll have Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian to talk a little bit more Memphis
Grizzlies.
Grizzlies. Yeah. You got a score on Loretto Sale Creek?
As
long as we're running over anyway.
I mean, we're already here. Yeah, let's go for it. Brentwood up 21-8 on West Ridge in game number 3, getting ready to sweep that set. Loretto took game 2, 25-15, and are currently up 10-7 in game 3. So they're up 2-0 there. And Creekwood with the squeaker over Lexington, 25-23, are the Red Hawks. Is that what they are? And they are leading 15-3 in game 3. So
goodness,
taking that momentum from game 2 and rolling it into game 3. So there you have it. Again, you can check those live scores on TWSWAsports.com. Tomorrow we will have a little bit more to talk about. Maybe Thursday for sure. We'll have some more to talk about with these high school numbers and get our thoughts on where some teams ended up in around the state. So again, Justin, appreciate you, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow here on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. For Mo and Justin, I'm Chris Yao. You guys have a great day.